on a Facebook Live because she is the sales queen. And I totally love her no-nonsense approach to learning sales skills and techniques. And also, I love the way that Marie balances the masculine and the feminine. So it's not about getting really pushy and spammy and forcing people to buy something that they don't need. Marie's sales approach is about meeting people where they're at, helping them to make an empowered decision, and also like taking responsibility for your side of the sales equation, which I absolutely love and adore. So a big wholehearted welcome to you, Marie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. First one back in the new year.
Woo! And also, did you want to add anything else about your introduction? And I've just talked about why I love you, but do you want to tell everyone a little bit about how you help women in business and add anything that you want to add there?
Sure. So I'm a business growth and sales strategist. So I go into businesses anywhere from small businesses all the way through to corporates and sort out their sales process, make sure that their business is working effectively and as leanly as possible so that their profits are growing and their business is expanding to where they want it to be.
Awesome. Now, if you're joining us live here on this Facebook Live, please do say hello in the comments box. And if you're watching on the replay, just use hashtag replay when you're making comments and asking questions. That way we can keep an eye out for any questions as they come up afterwards. And Marie and I will keep an eye out and see if we can answer those questions for you. Oh, we've just been joined by Bev Roberts. Thanks for all the hearts, Bev. We were just talking about you. We love you so much. So Marie, we're talking about five-figure January. For a lot of people, it's going for their first five-figure month in their business. There are some people who are going for big five-figure goals, such as $30,000, $50,000 for the month. But I just want to understand from you, like, why do you think sales is such an important part of our skill set as entrepreneurs and business owners?
Great question. So first of all, how exciting for the people that haven't hit that 5K, that five-figure month yet. It's scary, it's exciting. But what I believe is that if you can nail your sales process, everything around your business will grow. So once you've nailed your sales process, then it's just about getting extra leads in there. It's about growing different income streams. You can add products or other services that you want to offer. But having that sales system and structure within your business will allow your business to have the correct foundations. And all you need to do is just add in whatever it is that you want to offer your potential clients.
Love it. So actually that raises a great point, because not everyone understands in detail what a sales process or a sales system is. So do you want to give us a bit of the rundown on what you mean when you say sales process or sales system?
Sure. So what I mean by that is that every time you speak to someone or you have an inquiry come through, there's a really good step-by-step process that we do. So things like discovering and uncovering where they are, what they've experienced in the past, what their biggest challenges are, what they want, all of those sort of really good, juicy questions to understand how you can actually help them. It's not just about jumping on a call and pitching and blah all your stuff out onto people and making it all about you. Sales is about problem solving, and it's about a beautiful conversation and connection that you can have with people. And I know for me, when I do my one-on-ones, that conversation changes every single time. However, the rough outline and the guidelines that I use are exactly the same. I need to understand where they are. I need to understand what they've experienced, what's important to them when, you know, making a purchase or bringing someone into their business, you know, for example, from a sales perspective, and then understanding how one of our products or services can help them. It's not about giving them the whole menu. It's about giving them a tailored approach that is specific for them. And then obviously guiding them through your business beautifully in a connected way and giving them an amazing experience. It's not just about the dollar figure for your business. It's a lot bigger than that.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that I really love about the work that you do and the way that you teach sales and business growth as well, is that, you know, for a lot of people out there who teach sales, they're actually teaching a technology-based funnel solution, right? Make people do this, then make them do that, then tell them this, then tell them that, then make this the urgent thing, create a deadline for that, then do this, then upsell, then downsell, then side sell, then cross sell, then blah, 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 blah. And it is built on this rigid, one size fits all process that's focused on what you want your ideal client to do, rather than creating connection and understanding of what they want and whether you are the right person to support them and what is the right way for you to support them as well. So I love that.
Absolutely.
You know, this is a very human orientated sales process rather than just kind of prescribing some kind of funnel or technology solution to make people jump through hoops that set them up to be more likely to buy something from you. And I love that about you. Yes.
And I think the other great thing to understand is that it's not just about convincing people that they need to buy something from you. It's about creating that relationship. And once we've created such a beautiful relationship, it's not just about that one sale. It's the amount of people that then refer you and say, oh, you need help with sales? I want to have a conversation with Marie. And then these beautiful people become friends, lifelong friends, as well as business colleagues and all of that. And it's absolutely amazing if you can really understand how you can truly help people and how to guide them through that kind of conversation to help them. And if you can't help them, that's perfectly okay as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, love it. What would you say are some of the misconceptions or maybe fuzzy logic-based beliefs that people have about sales?
I think a lot of people struggle with the idea that if someone says no to them, that they take it quite personally, or that people feel like if people are saying no to them a lot, that my prices are too high, or I'm not nailing my target market, or my marketing's not on point, or things like that. What I find is if people are getting inquiries coming in and they've got, you know, Facebook pages and newsletters and all that sort of marketing type lead generation stuff, and they're still not converting, a lot of the time it's because they don't have that sales process supporting them and their business. And I also believe that if you can get that support around you, then if I give you 100 leads tomorrow, or if you decide to turn on your Facebook marketing or do some paid ads, or even just do some launching, then you're able to put people through that sales process and give them a really great experience to increase your conversions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of what I teach as well, around like the nail it and then scale it approach as well. I just want to pick up on something that you've said just then, and that is that misdiagnosis of the issues, what's wrong in your business. I had someone I was actually speaking to a few days ago, and she said, I really need you to help me with my messaging. There's something wrong with my messaging. I'm just not nailing it. I'm just not getting it right. And when I said to her, what is telling you that there's something wrong with your messaging? Like, where did that diagnosis come from? She said, I had a sales conversation with someone and I just couldn't explain what I did clearly enough because she didn't buy. I was like, one sales conversation and you think you need to come up with like the magical words that will hypnotize someone into buying from you. It's not the messaging that's the problem here. Like, number one, we don't have enough of a test sample. And number two, in terms of your sales approach, you were doing it from a talking perspective instead of a connecting and asking perspective. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things going on there. I do agree with you that sometimes people make the lack of sales mean that some other area of their business is broken or something else needs to be fixed, when in fact, the first thing to look at is what is your sales process and what is, what's your skill level? Do you need to keep practicing to build your skills at sales as well?
Yeah. The other thing I find is, and what I absolutely love about, for example, the Successful Sales System program that I run, is that people get consistent, ongoing, like it's not just a purchase at once and then you're done for that. It's ongoing. And it allows people in that group to continuously refine their sales process. Yeah. And the other great thing is, once you've got a beautiful sales process in place, it means that you can track and understand what in your sales process isn't working. Is it that you don't truly understand what it is that their problem is? And do they feel like they're not connecting as much as probably what they need to? Or are you presenting the wrong product or service to them that's not really meeting their needs properly, or whatever that looks like. It allows us to pivot really easily once we can track what's happening in that sales process if we follow step by step.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing for me is that, like, I was quite lucky, and I don't think it was by design. It was actually just the way that my business evolved. When I first started my business, I wasn't focused on creating courses or big funnels or anything like that. I just needed to prove my business model, prove that I could make sales, prove that people wanted what I was offering. And so my first 6 months of business, I was completely focused on selling one-to-one services through one-to-one conversations. That was where I focused my energy and attention. And the thing that was really powerful in that for me was, because I had over 150 conversations with individual entrepreneurs starting their businesses and wanting my support, and in that space, I got to understand the patterns of what the main things people were looking for, what the misdiagnoses were, what the objections people had to working with me, what value they needed to see, how much I needed. Like, one of the big objections people had when they were first talking to me about working with me was, I don't know if I'm cut out for this whole online business thing. And back in 2013, it was newer than it is today.
Yeah.
And so when I did move into more scaled marketing and sales approaches, I knew I had to cover off on those things and help people to see it's not a big leap from where you are now to where you want to be if we take the easy step-by-step approach. And when I explain that in my sales process for my takeoff program, for example, then that addresses that proactively for people. And I know that that's a priority. I didn't create the scaled takeoff sales process based on trying to cover off all the possible objections and all the possible questions, because then it's information overload. So it's through that practice that we get to really learn what are the common things, what are the threads that we're seeing, and we're able to actually scale something that we know we can have some confidence that we're hitting the key things that we need to cover off for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when you were saying that when you first started, like, my business has been up and running for a little while, and some of you may know and some of you may not know, I'm not a huge, massive marketer. I don't do a whole heap of content creation or Facebook or anything along those lines yet. However, I am into that stage now. But my biggest focus was, how do I get dollars through the door? How do I have something that is repeatable so that every time I speak to someone, I've got a rough guide about what that looks like. I've got a rough understanding of the format that I want to kind of take them through in that process to get them to understand maybe their problem isn't marketing or messaging. Maybe it is just about sales. And if it is messaging and marketing, that's okay. That's not my forte. But if it is sales and understanding that process, absolutely, I can help them. So sometimes it's not just about focusing too much on your marketing or your messaging or anything like that. Nail your freaking sales, like nail your sales, and then you can sort the other stuff out. I promise you, I've done it. I'm a walking example of it. Cash in first and then expand it. Absolutely. Nail and scale. Perfect.
And you have such a beautiful, profitable, sexy business, and it didn't take you a long time to get there. You don't have tens of thousands of people following your Facebook page.
I definitely don't.
I don't even think you have thousands of people following your Facebook page.
I don't. I absolutely don't. You
don't have a massive mailing list. You haven't been blogging every single week for the last 6 years. You have, like, all of those things that we often hear as, like, they're the pathway to market that's profitable and you'll get there and it takes time and all that. I once went to a bloggers conference, and it should have been called 101 Reasons Not to Become a Blogger, because the stories they were sharing about how I made my first $100 after 3 years of blogging every third day. I was like, oh my God, right? This model of nailing the sales part of your process first and really treating the leads and the audience members that you attract as precious commodities, as well as opportunities for learning, connection, and relationship building, rather than the churn and burn method of I get 100 leads in and 10 of them sign up with me and the other 990 can go take a hike. You know, I think that's a really powerful process, and it means that you can get to the point of making money in your business way faster without having to have all those bells and whistles and things all set up and running. Like, you are living, breathing, walking proof that that isn't necessary in order to get to a really profitable, really high cash flow business.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You're freaking nailing it. Yeah.
And I think the other thing that people forget in their sales process or sales skill is that people do forget to follow these people up.
Oh, yeah.
So even if I gave you 10 quality leads and you convert two in that time, great, well done. You've got a conversion rate of 20%, is it? No?
Yep.
Whatever it is, yep, 20%, clearly not a numbers person. And then it's like, what do you do with those other 8 people that you've spoken to and they didn't come through? What did you miss? Or what are they thinking? Or how can you reconnect? How can you give them more information, not necessarily about what you do, but how they can solve their problem a little bit closer than what you did when you first connected with them? Absolutely.
I love that. And I would say for anyone out there who is like, if you've been in business for more than 6 months and you're going for this 5-figure month thing in January, you probably already have enough leads. There are people on your mailing list, following your Facebook page, you've already had conversations with, you maybe have even done a session with them before, you've worked with them before. There will be enough of those people in your existing world that if you can follow up with them effectively, re-engage them, understand what they need, and get to understand the gap that they're experiencing and how you can bridge that more effectively for them, you have all the leads that you need. The issue is not massive lead generation. The issue is following up with the people you already have connections with and creating a repeatable process whereby it's not just a process to tell, it's a process to meet and understand, to provide the information and empower them to make the right decision for them. And that might be to buy or it might be to not buy, but helping people feel like they've got everything that they need to make that decision.
And I think the other thing that people sometimes also forget is that one lead for you may just be one person. However, you have no idea who that person knows. You have no idea who they speak to, what they say away from you. So I know for people that I've spoken to, if I haven't been able to help them, maybe their sales process is working beautifully, but their marketing or they need help with Facebook ads or they're ready to take it to the next level, they will refer people to me without even having worked with me because they know it's not a pushy sales, you have to do this or your business won't succeed, all that crap that comes with it. It's not about that. It's about having that beautiful connection. And I highly recommend people at least once every 3 months or every month if you can to go back through those people that you've spoken to and reconnect. Not in I spoke to you before and you didn't have the money to work with me, but hey, where are you at now? Has anything changed? How can I help? And give them a few little tips along the way that can help them take an extra step forward. It's about, rising tides lift all ships, especially for women in business.
Absolutely. And I always say, approach it like it's someone that you're meeting at a barbecue or something, right? You don't meet someone at a barbecue and you're a parenting expert and then you say, hey, how you going? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Yep, I'm stay-at-home mom, da, da. And then what do you do? I'm a parenting expert. What's wrong with your kids? How can I help your kids? Then this is what I sell. But it's not about that. It's about developing a relationship with people. And I think sometimes when we move from in real life to online, we feel like we have to be like more robotic, more professional, more of a front, more something, more disconnected from people. I think that that's an old model of business as well. We need to create disconnection. I'm up here and I've got it all figured out and I'm perfect and look at my perfectly manicured brows as I stand on this super yacht, and you're the poor person down here who just can't seem to get anything working and you need me and you're never going to survive without me. That's why I'm like bringing myself down here to be able to help you. And that's not what creates connection and conversion and sales in a business. That's a very old way of doing business. And with the opportunity that we have in the online world to have connection, to have conversations, to really build relationships with people, that's a missed opportunity if you're keeping that disconnected approach happening.
Absolutely. And that's why, like I tell people, I don't have all my marketing sorted. I don't create 50 billion things of content. Like I'm really open and honest about that. All I know is that I know sales processes work. I know I've taken clients from doubling and even tripling their income just by setting up a beautiful sales process within their business and making it really easy. Like, it doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be, you know, like when you call Telstra, it's like, hi, how are you? I'm good. Thanks. Thank you for asking. You're like, oh, get off the script. Like, just far out. It's so frustrating, you know? Or people that continuously just keep talking about themselves. And it's like, do you even care about where I'm at and how I actually, like, where I want to be? So, go back to the human connection. Go back to picking up the phone. Go back to connecting with people, not just huge mass blah of everything that you do.
Yeah. And I really love, and even something, I hope you're okay with me sharing this, but something that I love is that you also share that thing about, like, you become friends with these people, you connect with people, you know, it's you get, like, you know, there's the old school world of business is like, stay disconnected and don't get emotionally involved and those sorts of things. And you were, I remember you at the VIP day at conference last year, and you had your client and she'd like landed this 5-figure deal, and you're like, oh my God, and you're celebrating it as though it's your business. And, you know, the thing for me is that I do that with my clients as well. You know, when I had someone in the Takeoff program and she did her first webinar on this, the topic that she's moved to now, and she made $1,000 in sales before the webinar had finished. And it was just like 2 VIP sales at $500. And it's like, boom. And I'm like running down the hall to give a high five to Davey at that person's success, because, like, we're allowed to care, and our caring about what's going on for our clients is part of our value proposition, and it's part of why we do this. Like, I do this for those moments. Like, I don't do this so I can say, oh, look at me, I had my 5-figure month, da 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 da. I do this so I can say, look at you, look what you did. This is amazing.
Like, and even just you talking about that, I can absolutely take myself back to standing at the lift. So I was like, oh, okay, it's break time. And then I got this message saying she'd closed the deal, and I'm crying, like I've won the freaking lotto, you know? And I just, I was so proud of her. And it was so, like, that's why I do what I do, because that sort of growth for someone from a both personal and professional point of view is just huge. Like, I freaking love it. And that's why I do what I do. I love it because it not obviously allows me to grow my business, and, you know, business for me is about growth and making money, and I absolutely love that. But at the end of the day, all that money doesn't change anything. It's about having those really great connections with people and getting emotional and jumping up and down. And one of my clients, she gave us a budget of 150K on top of what she was earning. She called me in December, and she said that she'd hit $290,000. And this was we were supposed to do this over 12 months. We'd been working together for 5 months. I hang up the phone, I run into my room, and I'm jumping on the bed going, yeah, you know, like, I'm overexcited about this sort of stuff. Because the more people I can share how easy sales is, the better everything will be. I don't have to have shitty pictures towards me, you know. I don't have to have people trying to sell me stuff and it's like, oh God, stop talking, you know. And for women in business, like, we really can change the world by helping people grow and make more money and stuff like that. So that's what really makes my heart sing. Just stupid stuff like that.
Love it. Okay, so Marie, in this Facebook Live, I've actually shared the link to your Facebook page.
Perfect.
And I know that there are going to be women who are really hungry for some of those more, like, detailed hints and tips and strategies and all that kind of thing. You do run webinars consistently. There will be one coming up soon. So if you're watching along and you don't follow Marie's page, and I really want to encourage you to go and follow Marie's page. And that's also going to push her to do the content-y part, so that I'm happy with her scaling. So yes, that's great. But do go out and check out Marie's page, and you know that learning sales isn't a start and finish thing, right? I'm still learning more about sales, developing my skills and growing my capacity to meet people where they're at and understand their needs and present something that's going to be a great fit for them. And so all I would say is just make a commitment. If you do nothing else this year, make a commitment to really getting your sales skills up there and crafting your own step-by-step sales process so that you can do something that's repeatable, and that's something that you can test and measure what works and fix the bits that where maybe people are falling down. And if you want to follow someone who can help you to do that, that is Marie. So please do make sure that you check her out. Now, Marie, if you were to leave our 5-figure month ladies with one last piece of advice, what would that be?
Oh, so many things. For me, it's about having consistent conversations with people and really touching as many people as you can. And for me, that happens best in a belly-to-belly conversation, especially if you are wanting to hit that 5-figure month and you do have higher price points, like anything over $100. Have a conversation with people. If you're up into the thousands, even better. Have a beautiful conversation. It's the same energy whether you're selling $20 or $20,000. It's just about having that conversation. And so to make more sales, have those conversations and to really learn and understand about yourself. I'm still learning about sales and myself, and I'm a specialist in this sort of stuff. I've been doing it for many, many, many years. So yeah, keep growing and keep trialing new things and keep having amazing conversations.
I absolutely love that, Marie. Now, we actually have a couple of questions. I wasn't watching the chat box. So we've got a couple of questions that came in. So can you just quickly explain one example of a sales process, like what maybe the elements might be?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so this is obviously going, like, here's my disclaimer, right? It's going to be different for different businesses, whether you do products or services or whether you're selling one-to-many or anything like that. But one of the first things you want to do is you want to discover and uncover. So ask some really good quality questions. And I also go through this in my Pitch Fest video that I've already done. So ask really good quality questions. So understand where people are at, understand what they've done in the past, understand what their problem is, understand what they've, like, so many people are like, oh, I don't want this because I've tried this in the past and it didn't work. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to try things and they didn't work. Find someone that really understands you and that is willing to hold your hand through that to keep getting those results that it is that you really want. So discover and uncover, and then understand what your bridging is. So understand where your product and service fits in from where they are to where they want to be, and how you can bridge that and hold their hand, like take them through that. I know, Tash, you're not a massive fan of the word journey, but for me, it's like, how do I take someone from earning 50 grand in their business up to 150 grand? Like, what does that look like? What do they need? Is it the support that they need? Are they the sort of person that just wants to be told what to do and then go ahead and do it and then come back for the next step? And that's okay too. So understand how your bridge and your product or service solves that person's problem. Not everyone's problem, that person's problem. And then when you present, then we go through your prices and your packages and how we actually present that in a really beautiful, connected way. Don't give 5 million different options. Don't even give 5 options. I normally say 2, maximum 3. And then if they've got questions or any questions along those lines, talk them through it, and always ask for the sale. So ask them, invite them into your business, ask them if they want to work with you. I have a little bit of a cheeky rule with myself. If someone doesn't ask me to buy, I don't buy. Because it's just like, we'll see what happens, see what their follow-up is, see how all that sort of process works. And then overcoming their objections, not in a way of, you have to do it this way, otherwise it doesn't work. Sometimes we have our own thoughts that come up, our own beliefs. Sometimes it's a big investment to solve the problem that we've got. So really talk them through what's important to them and understanding what their next stages are. Great. And I do it in a beautiful circular type process. So we go through the follow-up, we go through the lead generation and all that sort of stuff as well. Excellent. So it's a complete step-by-step, and I can pinpoint what I've stuffed up, whether it's the discover and uncover and I should have nailed that, to then overcome the objection before that objection came up, things like that.
Awesome.
Hope that helps.
So in the comments box, I've shared the link to Pitch Fest. So Marie is one of our finalists for the Pitch Fest competition to speak at conference this year. And in that, there's a 10-minute training that Marie has done. Go and watch that, because that's a really good way to get those basics down. So that's great. Thank you, Marie. And then the other question was from Christina. And she said she would love some idea on how to actually follow up with people when they've done a set, like maybe one session with you before and they didn't convert, or had a conversation, they didn't convert. How do you start that follow-up process?
Okay, start that follow-up process. Stop, let me go back a bit. Don't start the follow-up process by saying, hey, you said that before you needed to check with your husband or your partner. Have you had that conversation?
Yes.
Like, I don't know about in everyone else's house, but in my house and my business, I make my own decisions, right?
Yep.
Yes, I'll have a conversation with hubby about it. We'll talk about money. We'll talk about all that sort of stuff. But he knows at the end of the day, if I want to do something, 90% of the time, I'm going to do it. But the thing is, sometimes I will use that objection as a smoke screen.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel connected enough with that person to say, do you know what? I'm just worried that there's not this in it or there's not that in it. When I first started in sales consulting stuff, I'd speak to people and they said, I'm just worried that I won't be able to follow up and do what you're telling me to do. So the biggest thing I had to understand was I need to make sure that people know that they can reach out to me, that they can tell me that they've just screwed up a huge deal. How can I reopen that door? How can I have that conversation? And so understand if you understand what their biggest needs are, that follow-up should be really easy, because you should have enough rapport and connection to reopen that door and say, hey, we had this great conversation. I've been thinking about you. I saw something about this the other day that made me think of you. How are you going? Where are you at? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So connect. Don't just pick up the phone and be like, hey, have you got the money yet? Hey, have you made enough money in your business to pay me yet? It's not about that.
And I love that. My most powerful follow-up email says, hey, such and such, it's been this long since your session. What's the update? That is my most powerful email that I send in my business, because it's not about like following up in order to make the sale. I genuinely want to know how they're going first and foremost. And that, what's the update, what's going on, starts a conversation. And often people will answer that by saying, I haven't done anything. I've totally overwhelmed myself. How much to keep working with you? That's it. Or thank you so much for emailing me. I've been totally on the fence about getting back in touch with you because I haven't done it or it didn't work. Can I go ahead and sign up to that thing we talked about? And like, I don't even have to do any selling in that follow-up, because all I asked them was, how is it going? And then some people will say, yeah, it's going okay, da-da-da. And I might invite them to have a free 15-minute chat. Oh, that sounds like something we could sort out quickly. Why don't we jump on a call and talk about it? And we talk about it. And then if it's appropriate and they're still looking for more support, I go into a sales pitch on that. So I think the biggest thing that I take from you, Marie, and I think that anyone who's really struggling with follow-up can take from you, is don't follow up like this, make sale, follow up like this, like, hey, like it's about learning first and asking first, not telling in the follow-up.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, like, treat these people like they are your potential new friend that's coming on board. Because if you do work one-on-one with people, I don't know about you, but I only like to work with people that I like, because I'm thinking about their business. I'm putting time and energy into their business. I want to be able to jump up and down when they've made a goal or when they've hit their targets or something along those lines. So it's build that connection, like build that friendship, understand where they're at. If they've got kids, if there's been something going on with the kids, touch base about stuff like that. Like, don't just, hey, I spoke to you about this. Here's some more information on it. No one cares. Like, it's not about you, you know? Like, connect, people, connect, love, connect, you know? Like,
Love it. Absolutely. Oh, this has been so, so beautiful. Thank you so much, Marie.
My
Make
pleasure.
sure that you go and check out Marie's Facebook page and that Pitchfest presentation as well. There are 7 finalists in Pitchfest, and they've each prepared a 10-minute presentation that helps you achieve a really practical outcome. So, you know, set aside some time this week or maybe over the weekend to go and watch them all. And if you love what Marie's saying, make sure you vote for her in Pitchfest as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to share more at conference about how to really sell and how to structure that sales process for all the women that'll be there.
Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah. Thank you once again, Marie. Thank you everyone for joining us here for this Facebook Live. Again, if you've got questions on the replay, just use #replay. Ask your questions. We'll come back and keep an eye out for those. And until next time, beautiful ladies, happy 5-figure January, and we cannot wait to see you shine. Bye.
Bye.